nasty.
The COVID thing forced us to go, all the administrative staff that's not going to be doing all this construction, everything, now we're going to refocus and build that. And then the design firm started taking off. So then I would go to Home Depot at night and I would, grab one of the books and I'm like hiding in the boxes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would read the book and I'd learn about how to, fix the plumbing. And whether I'm building a custom car, a custom home or a custom pool, I'm just an artist, dude. I've always been an artist since I was a little baby.
So welcome back to episode number 2 of the Nasty Truth Podcast. On today's episode, we have one of my close friends, one of my homies. His name is Jesse Escalera. And Jesse he's the real deal. He's a true rags to riches story. He's a truly great guy. And this is by far the most emotional podcast out of any that I've recorded. Jesse tells his story, how he went from nothing, literally living on the street, homeless, and going through the toughest time in his life where he hustled, he scraped, and he just got through by teaching himself anything and everything to perfect his craft. Now he is one of the most sought after architects, and when it comes to building the most beautiful backyard and pool in the world. He has people reaching out to him from the Middle East. He has people reaching out to him from countries all over, and he just even did a backyard for one of the World Series winners of the Dodgers. So if you're looking for something that's going to keep you entertained and keep you focused and keep you hooked, this is going to be a great podcast to pay attention to. This is Jesse Escalera from Calimingo Pools. Everybody, welcome again to another episode of the Nasty Truth Podcast. I have one of my close friends, Viking by nature, so one of the prettiest men I know with that beard over there. His name is Jesse Escalera. Jesse he's a general contractor, okay, but he is known as the Willy Wonka of general contracting in his business. He's been on TV. He's actually quite famous in his space, and Jesse is really someone that is very unique, and he comes in and he creates spaces that you're not going to see anywhere else on the planet. And I can say that with a lot of, without being stressed out about it in any way, because I know it's true. And I'm going to talk to our videographer and see if we can put up some photos. And what we'll do is maybe right now I'll stop talking and they'll pause it for a couple seconds, but I'm going to just have them show a stream of photos in the video of stuff that Jesse has done. Because until you've seen it, you don't really understand. He designs these backyards that are gorgeous. They have these pools you've never seen before. They have these fireplaces that are completely unique, and he really just takes time in creating these spaces that are very unique to the person. And you can honestly say if he creates a space for you, no one else on the world is going to have a space like it. So he's very creative, and you wouldn't see it by looking at his face. I mean, this guy does not look like an artist, but the way he does what he does, he's an artist. So I want to introduce him today. I know the company was called JE Proscapes, and now it's called Calimingo. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. He had to change it because a lot of people basically stole his idea and stole his company name because they were jackers. I mean, I don't know what else is the best way to say it. They're pieces of shit when it comes down to it.
I'll explain it.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. So this is Jesse Escalera. Jesse, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This is very exciting for me, listening to you kiss my ass.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome. Don't
it's
get
nice
used
for
to
us
it.
to talk. We've never talked about our businesses, really.
No, we have never talked about businesses. I mean, we've gotten into a little bit here and there, but it's, a lot of times you hang out with friends, and not everybody is an entrepreneur or business owner, right? So it's nice when you hang out with people that understand your problems. Everybody thinks being an entrepreneur is this glamorous, magical thing. They don't understand if every day is a fucking struggle. I wish that every day I could just go and know the things I'm gonna do, but it's always having to come up with new shit, figure out new solutions, and it's never just the same thing. It's a constant stress, but we love it, right? It's it's the life we chose.
I think it's important to remember that that's part of the reason why it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because there's so many twists and turns and things are always changing, and you just got to be on your toes and, staying up not only with your business, but kind of with the market and your industry that you're in. You just got to stay on your toes.
Yeah, everything changes on
especially
a regular
when
basis.
You're a leader, when you're leading the market. Or
yeah, and I know that you're to COVID, for example, COVID's killed my business, right? Not killed it, but people are not out driving cars. My entire business depends on people fucking driving cars. And if they're all locked at home and they're told to stay in their house.
Cuss? Are we cussing?
We can cuss.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So, people are locked at home, and the problem is if they're locked at home, they're not driving. But for you, people are sitting at home and going, I need to upgrade my house. So you're booming right now, correct?
Can I say poo poo pee pee caca?
You can say poo poo pee pee
All
caca.
right. So in March 12th, that day, the news was like, there's a run on the toilet paper.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at my desk and I turn around to my wife, to Sarah, and I go, babe, get on your little phone and order $3,000 worth of groceries. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, the shit's gonna hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively speaking.
Yeah.
So I had her do that, ordered a robot toilet,
Yeah.
you know, that takes care of your business. Like, okay, it wipes your butt and like washes it and everything, you know,
That's
like, so
funny.
you don't need toilet paper.
That's
Ordered one of
hilarious.
those.
Like a bidet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ordered a bunch of stocks
Yeah.
because it just went, you know, it just tanked.
Yeah.
And it was just like blood in the streets, right?
Yeah.
So we had 2 pretty good sized jobs, like $500,000 in jobs. Actually, no, $500,000 plus the 6. So like $1.2 million in jobs.
Yeah.
Cancel like right now,
Okay.
you know? And they were under contract and they canceled like right before they were going to start. And we're like, oh man, like it's game over, right?
Yeah.
So then I completely changed directions with my company.
Yeah.
There was some things that we wanted to do anyway, and it was one of those things where you're too busy, you don't get to implement these new things that we want to do.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of like being forced to. So one of the things was we have like we've always kind of been like these 2 companies, right? We've got like this design firm because we design and consult worldwide. And then we've got the construction company. The construction company is, you know, obviously kind of local, you know, Southern California. But the design consult, we can do it anywhere in the world. So
Got
we
it.
design, I mean, we're currently doing stuff for like, you know, in Australia and Belgium.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. So we've designed all over the place.
And people just
Even
find
in-
you because of like your
Dude,
exposure
even in the Middle
online.
East.
Oh, no
Yeah.
way. Awesome.
Because of the exposure. Yeah, because of TV.
Yeah.
And because of TV initially.
Yeah.
But then just people following the Instagram and sharing it in these other places, and then it just proliferates anyway.
Yeah.
You know, even with or without TV.
That's very interesting. So,
Mm-hmm.
so people will see your Instagram and they'll be like, okay, I see these unique spaces. So are you, by practice, are you an architect yourself, or you just draw the designs? Can you maybe take us through
Yeah,
the process?
I'll get into that too. You were asking me about the COVID thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we did is consolidate, like diversify the companies.
Yeah.
And we started a JE Design Lab.
Okay.
So that we did that at that point, and then started marketing like crazy.
Okay.
So then we did like literally like $100,000 like in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just doing designs.
That's
just
amazing.
doing designs.
How much do you usually charge per designer? It depends on how
It
detailed.
depends.
Time. Okay.
I also have to be kind of like, well, you know, I got to be careful. Like someday, this is probably going to be a big deal. Millions of people are going to see it. So,
Yeah.
But I'll try to give you as much information as I can without sharing too many trade secrets.
Of course, I understand.
But the designs can range between 2,500 being the minimum to like, you know, I just did a design for 20 grand.
Got
you know
it.
what I mean? Actually, there was one we did for 35 grand.
And do you provide like the full detailed like drawings, like and
So
everything,
yeah,
or is
what
it
you
just
get
the
is
concepts?
Yeah, so what you're getting is typically the package you're talking about is like it's a site plan, renderings, like full 3D renderings, and like
Okay.
a fly-through video, and you're seeing like your whole property. It's not
Yeah.
like just like you're seeing the whole house.
Yeah.
We manipulate the house. We change doors, windows, stuff like that, color
Yeah.
and all that, and then everything surrounding it. So like the pool, you know, pool, spa, you know, fire
Yeah.
features, fire cages holding up second stories, all the craziness that you know us for
Yeah.
is all in there too. And every detail, like the colors, the patterns, it's all there. It's like real.
Got it.
You know,
Yeah, no, that's very
they're
interesting.
pretty incredible these days.
And so back to COVID, you know, you thought
So then we started the design company like by force, right?
Yeah.
So then that started kicking butt for us, and that because I needed to do something to keep the company afloat.
Yeah.
So then I told my staff, I said, guys, like even the crews in the field and administrative
Yeah.
staff, I said, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
We need to move nimbly. We need
Yeah.
to be nimble. We need to be, you know, we need to pivot like on a dime. You know what I mean? So we're going to be talking every day. We're going to have meetings every day, and we're going to make these changes. Here's what we're doing. The design firm, you know, we diversified that. We incorporated it. It's another company now.
Yeah.
The other thing we did was the construction company. I created these systems let's just say that again, like I have some trade secrets and stuff, but like,
of course.
we're basically simplifying the company, systemizing the company.
Yeah.
We created a pricing algorithm. You know what I mean? Like now, instead of taking a week or two to do like a bid for a major project for like a $500,000, $1 million project, now like 20 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
it's a
really
big
rad.
deal. It took months to build it out.
No, that's
so
amazing.
from March all the way to like the last like maybe a month and a half ago, it was like finally we started using that.
Do you have
pricing
a custom
algorithm.
CRM that you're doing this
Yeah.
with? Okay, so you created your own
so
CRM?
we used to have like, I don't know, 12 different, pieces of software that we use, CRM, project manager software, so on and so forth.
Now it's all one space.
And now it's all in one place.
That's amazing.
And we're just now, as you and I speak, transitioning into that all-encompassing ecosystem, we call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
an ecosystem.
overwhelming. It's huge. It's like a monster, deep dive thing.
Yeah.
And,
No, that's
and we can
amazing.
get a little bit more into that in a second here, but the COVID thing forced us to go, all the administrative staff that's not going to be doing all this construction, everything.
Yeah.
Now we're going to refocus and build that. And then the design firm started taking off because we forced it to, because we were forced to stop building. So that happened for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then, as you know, the stock market started taking off again.
Yeah.
We have these big waves that you can ride. And the same with my industry, we tripled in size this year, and from year to year.
Yeah.
And I would say probably 80% of the sales were in the last like 3 months.
Yeah.
Because, and we could have, we would have quadrupled or 5 times or 5x'd for sure. But the only reason we didn't is because in March, like I said, I completely stopped taking new customers, like only trickled in a couple, cut off all marketing, nothing. And the reason is because we thought we were going to get, choked anyway. We thought we were going to choke the pipeline. So then we preemptively set ourselves. So once we were in like this build out, I just stuck with it. I said, you know what? I don't care what the economy's doing. I don't care what, we're going to stick with this build out. It was tough to make that decision, but I basically threw all my whole staff and threw them in the ocean to swim. And said, hey, sink or swim. We're going to do this deep, the cartoons where the airplane's going to, crash into the valley and you're just like pulling the yoke or whatever and trying to, that's what we're
right back out.
We're just now like getting
out of that. But you know what? You did something that probably would have been a lot more difficult later on down the road to do. I mean, that's like something we focus on this year too, right? Well, we're not taking on as much new business because it's not that high demand. But for us, we basically spent the last year, we basically now have our processes, everything's down to the T. We've written everything out. We have it labeled. We have it. So like basically if a monkey wanted to come in and a monkey could read English, he could just do everything that I do within the business except for the stuff that an attorney has to do. Mm-hmm. And we have it down to the most minute detail. But it's important, a lot of people, they're having downtime and they're freaking out and they're worrying, but this is your time to work on the business instead of in the business. Right. Most of the time you're worried about
everybody. Yep.
Yeah, you're worried about like your new stuff coming in. You're always worried about the new case or the new client or new whatever it may be. Now you can actually focus and create your processes. I remember during a interview with this guy named Ivan Meisner, which is BNI, a networking group that I'm in. I had the chance to be at a meeting that he was in, and I remember I asked him a question. I'm like, "What is the number one thing that you ever did for your company?" And he has the most successful networking company on the planet, hands down. They did $16 billion worth of business within each other, and so the guy said, we took a year, we stopped doing what we were doing, we stopped growing, and we put our processes down on paper. And that seems to be like one of the biggest things for most major corporations or major industries. Right. You got to take the time and you got to list it out. If you ever want to grow, you can't teach it hands-on to every person. You need to put it somewhere that everybody can go access.
You got to build a mind map, turn it into an equation.
Yeah, and the CRM thing that you're describing too, like I didn't start using a CRM until my third year in practice. And when I did that, I tripled the amount of clients that I was representing. Right. Like if you don't use a CRM or some online software or tool to help manage your company, you are fucking up is a nice way of saying it. You need to take the time to find the right one. And just like he was talking about how they're just now pulling back up, we've changed CRM twice in my company, and each time I felt that same feeling. It's like, this sucks. It's so painful. Bad. Yeah. It hurts. Everybody's mad. Everybody's learning all over again. You got to start back from square one. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. But now that we're like back out, we're just smooth sailing up. And now it's just a question of bringing in the new clients, and everything's easy peasy.
It's like having like a baby or something.
Dude, it's
and
tough.
It's like, you're doing it.
You
like,
know it's coming.
I'm giving birth now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to willingly do this.
Yeah, like you've signed up. You got a plan for it. You
like
gotta,
stab me slowly.
Yeah, stab me slowly. Dude, it's tough. But you know what? I'd rather, the evil that I know versus the one that I don't.
Right.
And it's like, it's a good evil, right? Like people don't realize like these tough decisions you have to make.
It's a necessary evil.
It's a necessary evil. And the best thing I can tell you when it comes to change, a lot of business owners hate change. If you're a business owner, you need to welcome change. Change is good if you do it the right way.
Right.
And you got to just do it quickly.
If you're not changing, you're dying.
No. Yeah. What is it? I think Warren Buffett and Bill Gates always, their biggest piece of advice to people is fail quicker, right? So if you can fail quickly and realize that you were in the wrong CRM or you're doing the wrong thing, just change quickly, figure it out and move on. But don't spend 6 months trying to mull over whether it's a better CRM. It's either is or it isn't. Make the decision, move forward, and start making changes.
We've lost a ton of money, like millions, dude. Just building out, moving from one CRM to the other, and from one project management software to the other, and my employees have suffered from it. And stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like we grow from it, and then you find it's like it's on a micro level. It's kind of like interviewing people. Yeah, you know what I mean. But this is like long drawn out thing. But it's the same thing. You go through them. You go through people. You hire them. You kind of it's not a good fit or whatever until you find like a rock star. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, the best thing I can tell you too is like, even when you find the right one, so now we're smooth sailing, but I'm not just settling for what we have. I've already started looking at other CRMs, and I now know what we're going to do in 3 years, because right now, like up until I'm a staff of 20, this is the perfect CRM for us. Yeah, but then once I get to a staff of 20, you got to be 10 steps ahead. You got to start planning for what
the
am I
future.
going to look, what is your company going to look like in 10 years?
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you're doing 10 million, what's it going to look like when we're doing 50?
Yeah.
You know
so one thing that I would recommend, we just finished reading this book.
Extrapolate back from there.
My company together, we read this book called Traction. You should read it just as a business owner. It's really good. It like helps you. Like,
we're definitely going to exchange
content.
Content.
Yeah. So, but
I'm sure we're looking at a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, we're probably looking at a lot of the same things. I mean, I think a lot of people just don't look past the next 6 months. They're worried about how am I going to pay my bills. They're not thinking what is my 10-year goal. What are the core values of my company? Or if it's not
broke, don't fix it.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's a very, very common one. I mean, I don't know. I'm always looking to improve because I think that's part of the fun of being a business owner, and also letting go of the leash and just focusing on the big picture stuff is part of the fun. If once you get to that point, right? Yeah.
The system we're using now, and we can get it more into this off camera and stuff, but into the weeds of it, But it's real important with a CRM, especially if you're thinking about getting really big. Yeah. Even though it's a lot more complicated. There's way more minutia to it. Yeah. But having using a CRM that APIs with everything and that you can like kind of build out and that you can write code.
Integrates with everything, right? That's what you're saying.
You can write your own code.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Yeah. No, you're fine. But that you can write your own code because then it's infinite. Like it's you can continue growing with it.
Yeah, stuff that you can change on a regular basis. I mean,
but I think it's good to use. Sorry to interrupt, but I think for people, if people are watching this and they have a small business or they haven't started yet or whatever, it's like I think there's a huge value in getting into these little kind of CRMs or even invoicing and estimating software that just kind of gets you in the door. Yeah. You know what I mean? To get started. Like you don't think that you have to go, you and I are talking bigger business. You know
like we have to pay per user and that kind of stuff. But you can use
we're talking
Trainual.
Enterprise, you and I.
Yeah, you can do like Trainual or like Monday. There's a bunch out there. I think Google's even creating one. Like guys, just
Trainual you're talking about, that's not even a CRM. That's
it's a training process.
That's great. That's awesome. Now you're talking about something that's an LMS. Yeah. That's a learning management system.
Do you use that yourself?
We do. I think we use Trainual.
Okay, very cool. Yeah,
I think we use Trainual.
I was looking into that myself.
Yeah, my staff does all that now. But
okay, awesome.
Let's check with them because we went through a couple. I don't remember if Trainual is one of the ones that we went to and then we went out of into another one, or if that's the one we're using. We'll call Lydia or something and ask her what we're using. But
okay, cool.
But it's an LMS and everything. It's like our Bible. Yeah. So everything new, somebody makes a mistake, we go, oh, perfect, wonderful. Let's have a meeting about this mistake. Yeah. Create a new SOP, a standard operating procedure. Yeah. And put it into the LMS. Yeah. So everybody knows forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about real quick. So you're a general contractor, right? Is that correct? You have your general contractor.
It's funny
license?
because when people ask what I do, me or my wife asks us what we do, it's hard to quantify it.
No, of course. But I know you have your general contractor.
I have a contractor's license. I have 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. And what are the 3 different licenses?
So I have a C53, a C27, and a general B.
And what do these differences mean?
So originally when I started, originally I was a handyman, but we'll get into that, the beginnings of it, I guess, at some point. But so at one point, I was being asked to do, landscaping and stuff like that, and then started getting more and more sophisticated. So a C27 is, think of it like a general B, like a general contractor's license, but for exterior stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you used to be able to do pools, like build pools and anything outside, masonry of all kinds, like even pool houses you could do with a C27.
Okay.
And you could sub out work, like a general contractor's license for exterior.
Okay.
And then at some point it turned into where we couldn't pull our permits for certain cities for pools.
Okay.
And I started getting more and more into building these elaborate custom pools, right?
Yeah.
So then I went and got a C53, which is a pool license.
Okay, got it. So it's a separate license.
Yeah. And then, we build custom homes, as you know. And
yeah, I didn't know that. So I thought that you just did exterior. So you guys do everything from the ground up.
Yeah, see, we've never really gotten to get it.
I
just assumed that you knew just from, creeping on my Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I've creeped on stuff, but like most of the stuff, your like most gorgeous stuff is like the backyards is like what you like feature and show on there. So you do everything from building the home from the ground up to just doing the exteriors also. What do you love to do? What's your favorite project starting from ground up? I love creating. Okay.
And whether I'm building a custom car or clothing or artwork or a custom home or a custom pool or landscaping, or I'm just an artist, dude. I've always been an artist since I was a little baby.
Yeah.
So it's like a passion. I can sit and when I'm left to do art, I can forget to eat and forget what time it is and not sleep.
Got it. Yeah, and this is like specifically like drawing is like one of your favorite passions.
Drawing since I was I don't know, dude, since I was a baby.
Yeah.
Since I was 2 or something or 1.
Yeah. When did you know that you were going to go down this road, like to being like
as an artist, or you mean as the business that I'm in?
And as an artist.
Okay, so like. Well, I mean, I've always been like naturally an artist, but you mean business, right? Like,
business.
When did I know
you
that
were
I was
a handyman,
artistic?
right? But then you segued into like being like more design.
The business I think any business that I'm in winds up having some sort of an artistic twist on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have my philosophy on just artists in general is that if whatever business you're in and you're artistic, you're always going to do better in that business.
I agree.
A doctor, even if he's a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon or whatever, if he's also creative, he's going to be a better brain surgeon.
Yeah, I agree.
You know
entirely.
what I mean? Because creatives have a tendency to sort of, kind of think out of the box and not being kind of held back by, typical, sociological constraints or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
rules and basic stuff that
like basic things that everybody else kind of sees as kind of like status quo. It's like an artist is always kind of thinking about, dreaming and thinking about what the next level or an out of the box thought.
Yeah, I agree entirely
on how to do things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't take time to think, right? I think artists take time to actually sit there and ponder and stuff. Most people are so sucked into their screens, whether it's TV
even as a lawyer,
computer. Yeah,
right.
You think outside the box.
Would you agree that most of the greatest lawyers, or even maybe especially like defense attorneys, are going to be the ones that are the most creative?
Yeah, they're for sure creative. They're thinking outside the box. They're finding solutions that other people. Yeah, dude, 100%. They're just not thinking the way that other people are. Most people, when they're attorneys, are stuck on the law. They're like, this is exactly how it is. This is how I have to approach it, and this is the way to do it. But they're not the ones getting the huge verdicts. They're not the ones thinking outside the box, right? Like, I have some friends that are defense attorneys. Those are the ones that are typically not going to be the creatives. They're like, no, this case is worth $300,000. And then you have the plaintiff's attorney on the other end. He's like, no, this case is worth $2.5 million. And they're going to go in there, they're going to ask that, they're going to believe it, and they're going to be 100%
seeing the angles, seeing more angles.
They're seeing all the angles, they're seeing everything. But then you have the defense attorneys like, no, this is what it is, this is how it is, and that's that. And so it's funny because like sometimes I partner with other attorneys to take on cases, right? And sometimes I'll be like, you know what? My client wants the 1 million. I don't want to fuck around. I'm going to bring this guy who's going to get me that 1 million. Mm-hmm. But then I'll be like, then you have the clients like, let's shoot for the stars. And then you have the guy that you know is super creative, as you describe it, and be like, no, that's the guy that's going to ask for 5 million. He's going to shoot for the stars and he might get it, 10, 20% of the time. But a lot of times you have to deal with personalities. And the ones that are most successful are the ones that are always going to be the most creative. They're the ones not asking for what's standard. They're the ones not asking for what's typical in the past. Right. And they're setting new standards every single time.
Yeah.
I have one attorney that I know, he just got $140 million verdict on a case. He had said he asked like 10 other attorneys and nobody went above 60 million. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, no, I'm asking for this because I believe this is what it's worth. And he came up with his solutions, and he did something so interesting when he gave his closing statement. So in closing statement, you can't tell the jury to put themselves in the shoes of the plaintiff or the person that's bringing the lawsuit. So what he did is he brought a wheelchair into the courtroom, and he sat in it, and he described himself as being the plaintiff, and he basically found a loophole to this rule, and he said, imagine if I'm these things, and it was completely ethical, and he didn't break any rules, and that's how he got that $140 million verdict.
Wow.
And he just that's what I'm saying, no other attorney's ever done that, and he was super creative, and he just thought outside the box, and he earned that money for the kid, and it worked out great for him.
I think it applies to almost like anything.
Yeah.
Any business that you're in.
Yeah.
Or any vocation or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, what happened was I needed a job. I needed to make money. I started working. I got into construction, and I started doing that. And then people ask me to do something, and then I figure out the coolest way to do it. So basically the way it got started, how far do you go back, when somebody asks you to tell a story like that, right?
I usually go back to it's usually like a mistake moment for me, or like something that happened in my life where I'm like, I fucked up, and this is when I realized this is the journey that I need to go on, right?
Well, I was at one point when I was, I'm trying to think back, like, okay, my dad lost his business, and I was, I don't know, what was I, 16 years old when we moved in the Tahiti motel.
Yeah.
And this is like one of those rundown, seedy motels. And this is like a progression. Like we wound up there.
Yeah.
From my dad losing his business when I was like a year and a half before that.
And your mom wasn't around?
My mom had she left to Mexico. This is a whole thing. Like my dad had some business in Mexico that he had done with my grandpa on my mom's father. Yeah. He had some farms and stuff like that. And he invested in his company. He was a baller out in Mexico. And my dad was the biggest manufacturer of picture frames in North America, in the 80s, 70s and 80s. But then my dad, he ran into some trouble. That's a whole nother crazy story we can get into, but lost everything. Super, super unfair. It's like a life lesson to me, and I said, we can totally get into that another time or whatever.
Everything get taken away in a moment.
Crazy story. I could just sit here and blow your mind just telling you about my dad.
Yeah, we'll get into that probably a little bit later.
Yeah, sure. So then, he lost everything. Then he got sick. And he started getting sicker and sicker. I wound up losing my mom and dad within a year of each other.
Jesus, how old were you?
30.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but he was sick for a while. But anyway, so then he wound up having TV and stuff like that. Anyway, so when I was, 16 to 19, I was in the Tahiti motel, and this dude that lived there, he was like a drug addict guy. He did second story decks, and that was my first job in construction. So, and I was underage. He paid me crap, took advantage of me. The guys would work me 60 hours, 70 hours a week and pay me for 8.
Wow.
But it's whatever, dude. I'm not bitter about it. I used to be really bitter about it and think that life's not fair and stuff, but now I'm grateful.
They're learning lessons. You probably learned so much on those jobs.
I got my ass kicked, dude, and it just made me super, just invincible, dude. Yeah. I feel like
there's nothing that can phase you. Yeah.
I'm not phased, bro. We go the business, dude, you got your ups and downs. You get your teeth kicked in, and then you're just on top of the world. You know what I mean? That's business, right? And it's just it doesn't phase me. I'm just like a war veteran. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like to I think we had this conversation actually when we were in Puerto Vallarta. I like getting scarred up, and I like my scars, you know what I mean? I like getting clobbered and stabbed and shot, you know what I mean? And bounce back and take it, take my lumps. It's fun. It's part of it. Yeah. Yeah. I try to inject, I use that word, infect. I try to infect my, it's kind of like a culture thing, right?
Yeah.
Like in the business, I tell my employees, I like to infect you guys, and I try to, and when they have a good idea, it's you need to infect the whole squad, you know what I mean? Everybody needs to be infected by that. That's rad, you know what I mean? So
100%.
So I try to infect my employees with that philosophy. Like, dude, oh, you're in the muck right now? You're trudging through the muck?
Yeah.
Dude, enjoy that. Like, relish that right now, because when you make it out of that, when you finally finish building the pricing algorithm and you see this thing start ripping, it's like, remember what you went through, and we're going to celebrate like it's freaking, the end of the world, dude, when that happens. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
And we do. It's like, it's awesome. So take your lumps. But anyway, so then I wound up working there, and then I we were done with this big project we were working on, second story decks on this apartment building, and then I wound up with no work. So I went like a month, I had no work, and I was living at the time. I was crashing on this dude's couch. I think I was giving him like $200 a month or something like that. To crash on his couch when there was nobody on the couch when I got home, or else I had to sleep on the floor too. Yeah. Because the guy was like, Oxycontin heroin addict. And then he had these other addicts coming over. He actually died. Actually, 6 of the people I knew around that time frame that were mostly friends of his all OD'd and died.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So you're hanging out with a great crew.
What's that?
You're hanging out with a great crew.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, life has changed dramatically. But so at one point, I was desperate to get a job, and I had called everybody all over the classified ads. All I knew how to do is like second story decks, which is a very specialized trade. When there's work, you're busy. When there's no work, you're screwed. Yeah. It doesn't transfer into other trades, Got it. So then I started calling construction companies. I had no experience. They didn't want to hire me. Like, literally not even classified ads anymore. Literally just construction companies. Like, hey, are you guys hiring? What do? Do you have tools? Do you have a truck? No, I don't have anything. Yeah. So then I started calling handymen, and then I started calling handymen and the penny saver. You remember the penny saver? You're probably too young. Do you remember?
I remember it very, very vividly. Okay. Yeah, then my dad advertised in there. That's why.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I started looking in the penny saver, and these guys were like cussing me out, because they're all creeped out. Like, I don't have an ad, because these guys are like unlicensed. A lot of them are drug addicts. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like trying to make a few bucks to get a bag or whatever. Like, they're just like seedy people. I don't know if you remember, like, Craigslist is kind of like that now. Yeah. But back then it was a penny saver. Got it. Anyway, it's just cheap. So anyway, I called a few of them. They all were cussing me out, kind of creeping out, so they'd hang up on me. Finally, this one guy answers the phone, and he's like, wait a minute, you did what? How did you find my ad? Well, I just was looking, everywhere. I just need a job, Well, but how did you find me? I don't have an ad. He goes, well, I just saw that you have an ad for doing work. And okay, and you're calling me for a job? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, I'm a handyman, right? Like, that's funny. So anyway, he's like kind of laughing, like, what are you doing, And he goes, dude, you're really resourceful, man. He goes, you're really after it. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, well, he was kind of praising me. He's like, you should, I'll wind up working for you someday. And I'm like, well, if you like me so much, why don't you just hire me? I'll work cheap. I just need a job. I need to eat, man. I need to pay my rent, my $200, a month rent. And he's like, no. Here's what you do, man. He goes, put a little $30 ad in the penny saver, dude. It's $30 for one zip code. Yeah. And just go fix doorknobs and men's socks, or whatever nonsense they have you do as a handyman. He goes, just go do that. I don't have any tools. Go steal them, dude. Like, whatever you need to do. Literally, he was like, go to the freaking store, stick it in your jacket. You know what I mean? Like, get yourself. So anyway, I took, what I did was I didn't take his advice at first. I was going to say I took his advice, but I didn't. I called a few more people, and they cussed me out, whatever, hung up on me. Yeah. So then I'm sitting there like all like desperate, like just feeling really defeated, and this isn't going to work. And oh my God, what am I going to do? It was like 2 weeks left to give this guy the last kind of $200 I had. And I was almost down to just the $200. And I go, man, if I take a shot at this penny saver thing, because now I'm thinking, like, what other chance do I have? Yeah. Go, if I do the penny saver thing, if it works, I make money right away or something, like, then I'll have money. I pay the guy's rent, I'll have a job. Yeah. But if I screw up and I don't make it, and I don't get hired, I spent the money on the $30 for the ad and then whatever tools, and then I'll be fucked with no money. Yeah. So worst case scenario, what's the worst case scenario? I'm like, well, I'll be homeless. Yeah. And then, but I slept in the streets before, at that point, you know what I mean? So then I go, worst case scenario, I'll wind up in the street again, And then right when I was thinking that, one of these dudes comes stumbling through the door and like face plants, boom, like on the floor in the middle of the room. And I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, that's the worst case scenario is I sit here and not take a chance at this shot that I have that now I'm looking at as an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, this is the worst case scenario. I've been on the street before. I can do that.
Yeah.
That's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
And I'm still young at that point. So that's what I did, dude. I put a $30 ad in a penny saver, and I went and I borrowed like, I don't know, $100 from my buddy, and then I used the $200 I had. And I bought a set of Ryobi, like a Ryobi kit that has like the Sawzall and the drill and all that. And then I bought like a hammer and stuff like that. And I may or may not have shoplifted a roofing hammer.
Got it. Yeah, you had to do what you had to do at that time.
To be honest with you, I mean, I got to be honest, I guess, right? So I went and it was home base. It was across the street from where I was staying. And I took a jacket and I stuck it in the jacket, the hammer. Like I had a jacket inside of a jacket, so I stuck it in the jacket and hung it. And then it was like a lower button, and then I had the jacket. So then when I was leaving, this guy like tackled me, grabbed me and stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to work. I just need this hammer, dude. Like, I'm just, I need to, I told him what I was doing, like I'm just trying to make some money tomorrow so I can eat, dude. And that's all I promise. Like I'll give you the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't even say like, take the hammer. Like I was just like, let me keep this. I need this hammer to make money.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah.
And the guy like let me go, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he saw like maybe a sincerity or something.
Dude, I think people are real, like there's a difference between like stealing. There's some people you steal, right? They're going to freak out about it, but you had a passion. Did you ever go back and like pay the guy for the hammer? I wonder.
I didn't get to keep the hammer.
Got it.
That would have been a cool story, right? It was like, he let me take the hammer and then I came back and gave him the money.
Got it.
But I will tell you something cool then I got started, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I started the business. But I remember, because I didn't know how to do anything. So then I would go to somebody would call me and I'd go to their house and they go, hey, can you like fix the P-trap on my sink? It's leaking, and I'm like, oh yeah, totally. Like, that'll be X amount of dollars. I'll come back tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I should have just fixed it right then and there, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow and get it done for you. I'm a little busy right now. I didn't have anything to do. Yeah. And so
but you had to go figure it out.
I had to go figure it out. So then I would go to Home Depot at night, and I would grab one of the books. And it's called Home Improvement 1, 2, 3. It's a big orange book, dude.
Oh my God.
And I would go hide. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm like getting emotional right now.
No, dude. I mean, that's amazing. But you learned, took
why am I getting emotional? It's weird.
Dude, but that's because you've come so far, man. That's amazing.
You're making me talk about these details I haven't thought about.
Dude, but this is amazing.
It's so lame that I'm like, all right. So I'm in Home Depot.
Yeah.
And I'm like hiding in the boxes, you know what I mean? I would sit there and read, and some of the guys, like, I got cool with some of the people and they would let me just sit there and I would read the book and I'd learn about how to, fix the plumbing.
Yeah.
So then the next day I would go and fix it, you know what I mean? And sometimes I fucked up, but then people I always try. Like I never give up. So then
I'm sure you'd give them a discount if you messed it up or something.
What's that?
I'm sure you'd give them their money back if you couldn't figure it out.
And I never gave anybody's money back because I never screwed up. Like I always, even if I didn't do it right away, I would just stay on it until it was perfect. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Everything. Like one time we screwed up this tile job and it was like so floating, like we were laying it on like a layer cake.
Yeah.
Like way too much thin set.
Yeah.
But we just like, will you please just like let me keep working on this until, and the lady was like, I think that it was like this lady that had kind of like a little crush on me. Yeah. Like this lady. And so I kind of took advantage of that. But I was like, let me just keep trying. And she was like, oh, I'm happy to have you here, And I'm like, okay, cool. So then, and we got it bitching, dude. That's where I learned tile on that job. So that's how it went, dude. I would take this, go at night, read about it, how to do it. And then the next day I would go do the work. Yeah. So then eventually I bought the book because the book was expensive, dude. In the 90s, it was freaking, let me see. What is it, 2020? Yeah, so this is like still late 90s or whatever. So like late 90s, this freaking book was $38, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's like $100 book, But, So then I was so proud I got this book, right? And then I would go like a week or a few days or whatever, 2 weeks or whatever, and then I like didn't have enough money because I was working cheap, dude. Yeah. And I would return the book for the money. Yeah. And then I would go eat, and then gas in the minivan, or I had this beat minivan that I had to put like water in every couple miles, in the radiator. Yeah. So then that I paid like my buddy's mom $80 a week when I had it. When I didn't have it, she didn't take it. She was just proud that I was doing something.
Yeah.
And then I would put gas in the minivan and eat, and then just make it through the week. And then I get a little bit of money, and then I go buy the book again. So I bought and sold that book. It was like my little bank. I like literally bought and sold this book like 8 times, dude.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So now I have the book, and I'm keeping it.
As you should. If there's one thing I could go back and tell little me, because right when I passed the bar, I went and opened my own firm, and I wish that I would have worked at like under a top litigator at a firm for like 6-7 months or whatever, just like even like another year instead of just being so gung ho about starting myself. And like everything you're talking about, like, dude, like I've literally had to read like Rudder's guides, like all this stuff, and like teach myself how to do it. But the way that I learned is, I would fuck it up, and then like if like something goes wrong, I wouldn't charge the client, and I would just like keep doing it until I learned it the right way.
You're
like,
ambitious. You're just like, I have to do this.
Yeah, I'll figure it the fuck out. And that's
this
like
is going to happen.
Everybody always asks like, what do you don't know how to do it? What are you gonna do? I'm like, I'll figure it the fuck out. That's like part of like people that are ambitious. It's like nothing's gonna stop me. I will figure it out. If somebody else did it, I can do it too.
Failure is not an option.
There's not an option. It's the same thing. Like an attorney that's working for me now, she always calls me. She's like, how'd you figure this out? I'm like, I messed it up so many times, I can't begin to explain to you. And then now I know how to do it perfectly because I've been through all of the shitty scenarios. So now when I get a shitty case, I will send it to her and I'll be like, you want to learn? This is how you learn.
Yeah, go freaking pay your dues.
Do the bad one. And because like, and she's like, well, I'm not going to really make anything on this. You're not going to, and I will lose money on these cases, but I will literally still take this case because I want her to learn. And I think these are the ones that you like for me, if the firm doesn't make $5,000 like on a case, between everybody's time and costs and expenses, we're losing money on it. And we have a significant amount of cases right now that are below that level because I want her to learn. And I know we're going to not make any money, but it's the best experience she's ever going to get in her career, because when she gets the big ones, she's going to be super thankful. But like right now, she's just learning through all the bad ones, and it's part of the process. And it's so important, because if you don't do those shitty ones, you'll never ever appreciate the big ones, and you're never going to learn the right way.
Yeah. You got to pay your dues, or else it's not going to you're not going to be able to taste it, dude. You know what I mean? You're not going to taste the victory.
No, for sure.
One time I was like driving, I guess I have to, it's just part of the story, my Ferrari. Yeah. Right. And my buddy's in the seat, and I'm like, kind of like crying, you know what I mean? Like it was, we were listening to some song. I think it's called Ambition. It was Ambition by Wale. Yeah. And I'm crying, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Are you all right? And I'm like, oh, dude, it's just like, I'm just overwhelmed by like the moment and stuff. Like, what do you mean? He goes like, well, I'm not supposed to be here. Yeah. That's what I said to him. I'm like, dude, it's like, it's just like being in that car, dude, and cruising down PCH. I remember it just like hit me, this moment where I was like going down, like when you're going to Laguna and you're going down that big hill. Yeah. And I remember vividly when I was a kid and broke as fuck, and then like seeing like a supercar, like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something, and going like, oh my God, like what is that like? Like I'll never have that. Like I'll never know what that's like, but just dreaming about it. Yeah. And I was like, and it just hit me right there at the moment. I'm like, I'm there. I'm that guy now. Yeah. I'm that dude in the Ferrari.
Yeah,
I was
dude,
like,
you made it.
Damn, dude. Like, it just blew my mind. Goosebumps.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, it's great to see your accomplishments,
Thanks,
and like not only that, but to like live them,
Ditto.
right? Yeah. I was talking to a friend last night in one of my book clubs, and he's like, he visualizes a lot. He meditates every morning. Sure. And he's like, he visualizes accomplishing his goals, and he was talking about the same thing. He's like, he's accomplished most of them at this point. Right. And he just feels like the same thing. He feels this overwhelming emotion when he just feels like I've lived in this moment now. Yeah. And he just keeps envisioning them and accomplishing them, and he gets to experience what he actually visualizes, and a lot of people don't do that, and so it's great that you made it.
Oh, dude, I'm the worst. I like romanticize it. Like I just like I told you, I love like the lumps, dude. I love taking my lumps, dude. And like getting kicked in the teeth, like, because it's just like, ooh, oh boy, dude. Like, wait till you see me come back from this. You know, like wait till you see what happens. And it just it like turns me on for my team to like see me and see us go through shit, and then I'm just like over here just like, dude, wait till you see what this turns into.
Yeah.
Like this adversity right now is
Yeah.
just like, and I think it's making them stronger too. And
Yeah, 100%. People coming out of these couple years, you know, if you can overcome a pandemic, you can pretty much overcome anything, right? Like nobody's going to be in these types of scenarios where you're going to be locked down. But once again, some people have flourished. Their businesses have
I think it burns off the dead wood, dude.
For
when
sure.
Stuff like this happens. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe some of that comes from experience from '08.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when for those of the people that are watching or listening to this that don't remember the housing bubble,
Yeah.
because they're maybe too young, but when that happened, same thing, man. It just burned off the dead wood, and the real heroes who were really out there, kicking ass and taking names, just flourished.
Yeah.
We went like this when the economy we went like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because all the people that have the money, that didn't spend the money, they want just the best, and we were like trying to do the best we could. We always do. We've always
Yeah,
been
of
that way.
course. Yeah.
But anyway, so we were talking about, how I started the business, right?
Yeah, you're returning the book. You bought the book. That was your bank.
Yeah, so I had the book. So then I remember, and we're talking about adversity and stuff like that. So I'll tell you, like the first job that I did, it was this big fat, like giant, like gay dude, right?
Yeah.
And he was like super, like the funniest. The guy was freaking hilarious, dude. Like I talked my buddy into going with me, and in the gay community, like he would be considered a twink for sure. Like he was like
That's
my little twink, my little buddy Alex, dude. He went with me. He like accompanied me on this call. I was like, dude, I'm so nervous. Go with me, help me. You know what I mean?
Help me out.
And then and he worked construction.
Yeah.
So like it was like on a Saturday, and he was willing to go. I was like, oh, it's cool. So then we went, and he like hit mostly on Alex, but like hit on us the whole time. Dude, the guy's like floating around in his pool like a big manatee, and he's like, hey boys.
Dude,
like,
that's hilarious.
Oh, dude, he was cracking jokes all day.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Anyway, so that was my first job, right? And I did it so cheap that when we got home, like, because Alex is really funny, he was cracking on me, dude. He's like, kind of like we crack on each other. So then he was like, dude, you're such a loser, dude. You know how much money you made? It's like, let's look it up. I think it's like the Great Depression money, dude. Like you made like it was. He wasn't kidding. He's like, let's do the math. How much money you made? How many hours we worked?
Yeah.
So you made like $3.17 an hour or some shit. You know what I mean? It was like stupid. So we had this little hibachi that everybody used, and we're sitting there like using this little electric little grill, on the floor, a couple buckets. We bought this like 99 cents chicken.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, tortillas and chicken, you know what I mean? And we're sitting there eating, and laughing, ah ha ha. And then he's like, dude, when the laughter kind of was over, he's like, so what are you gonna do, dude? Like, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're fucked. You make $3.17 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just looked at him, and I was like he was crazy. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like,
Yeah.
I'm fucking taking this fucking shit and riding it till the wheels fall off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time I've ever done something where, I have control over this.
Yeah, you're in control of your fate.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other people do it and make money. I'm fucking gonna figure this out. If it makes $3.17 an hour for the next year, dude, trying to fucking figure this shit out, I'm going, dude.
Yeah.
So I found my lane, and I fucking just ran 100 miles an hour, then never stopped running.
Dude, that's amazing. And so it ended up developing into, you ended up getting bigger and bigger jobs. At some point you were charging normal wages, and then from there
Transition.
And then you ended up getting like people that worked for you. And then when did it transition into like creating let's talk about your first job where it was like, can you do this? And you
I know exactly the job.
Express.
There's two jobs where it was kind of like a big deal, sort of transitioning. I'll tell you, like, this one particular one really made a huge difference in my life. So I went to a client's house. I forget how they found me, but this guy calls me over to his house, and he's got this big mansion out in Huntington Harbor.
And how many years are you into doing this handyman work?
This is probably... How many years into it? Well, I mean, you could remember, since I was a handyman, since that day I told you about.
Yeah, when you started with the penny saver.
God, maybe 6 years.
Okay, got it. So you've been doing this for a while.
Because I've been doing this.
You're getting a little bit of a reputation. People know who you are at this point. Yeah, okay, good. So 6 years. That's a good time.
Yeah, like probably 6 years. let me do the math real quick. I guess it doesn't matter, but like probably
No, I mean, it's important to me because I'm just like, I'm like
Okay,
at the
so, like,
point,
let me see.
I'm at the
20
point
years
where
in,
I'm like,
40.
I'm like 4 or 5 years into my career now, and like
Yeah.
people are starting to seek me out, right, at this
Right.
point, which is like, it's interesting when that starts happening, right?
Yeah.
And for everybody, it's a little bit differently, of course. I think for you, since you work so hard and people saw your work ethic, that's why they saw it and they started seeking you out. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking. But no need
Yeah,
to
good
go
point.
too deep into it.
Yeah, I would, if I was going to guess, I'd probably say it would be maybe 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think
But
like
it
5,
was
6
like
years is when people start getting like they start hitting their run, right? They start getting a little bit of experience. They know what they're doing now. They're not fucking around anymore. People see they're serious, and now they're starting to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, it was like I was trying to not be a handyman anymore. Like I was like trying to get into having some guys help me do stuff, and
Did you have a contractor license at this point?
I may have not. I don't remember.
Did anybody ever get sketched about that?
Good question. Maybe occasionally,
Yeah.
but didn't really have a problem with it, dude. I don't remember ever going like, I really need a contractor's license. Like the only time that happened was, and I mean, I'm not recommending that you don't get a car. I mean, everybody should just get it. It's not that big a deal.
I mean, this is also like before reviews and like Google and Yelp
Right.
and all that shit.
Yeah,
so like
long
people
before any of
weren't
that.
looking into that stuff
Right.
at that point. Now I'm sure
I didn't
you
have a
to have
contractor's
one,
license. I may have not had a contractor's license when I did this project because you're talking, because I know I was like 5-6 years in before I got my contractor's license.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I remember like my clients, like I remember like nobody gave a crap. The only reason I got it, and that's another story I can tell you, is like when I got busted for not having a license, and they wanted to give me 6 months in jail, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll tell you about that next.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so what happened was I went and did this. I went to meet this guy. His name was Joe, and he was one of the owners of Freeway Insurance.
Okay.
It's that road you're speeding on. You know the slogan? It's a huge company. So there's 3 owners. I did all their houses and like multiple houses for them, and like all their friends' houses and all their families' houses. Like it just, from that job, exploded. But anyway, so the way it started, went to Joe's house, met the guy, super no nonsense, really sort of, and he's huge, this big gruff individual dressed to the nines, extremely confident alpha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as you know, I'm an alpha. I mean,
I understand. We're all alphas. Or not all, but me and you are for sure. Yeah.
So then
Ryan Murphy's a C.
right. So then I meet him, and I think he doesn't like me. It's just the way he is. He's like all gruff and very businessy. So then okay, thanks. I'll talk to you later. I'll be reaching out to you. Okay, great. So then I left, and I'm like, you fucked that up. You fucked it up. Stupid.
Yeah.
So then I get a call like 2 weeks later, and his wife calls me, and she's like, my husband thinks that you're a genius, and you need to get over here and meet me. I need to meet you, and all this. I'm like, I thought this guy hated me,
Yeah.
So then,
That's funny.
yeah, right. So then I go and I meet Diane, and she's been interviewed too about me and stuff for the TV show and stuff. But so I go meet Diane, and she's a super sweet lady, and she just thinks that my ideas are awesome. But anyway, I'm sitting there. At first, it was just like, here's this design that we got from, I don't even remember the architect's name, but it was like some renowned architect in Orange County and in LA County, and he's a big deal. And we paid $20,000 for this design,
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, this guy's a big shot. Like just for some drawings, I was doing them for free.
Yeah.
Like that's when I was like doing them with a pencil for free.
Yeah.
Now people like it's all 3D rendering.
Yeah, of course.
But now my clients that I used to do the drawing, they go, oh, I don't like the 3D renderings. I like your pencil drawings, because they have them. They stick them on the wall. They'd frame them and stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I used to do all by hand. I used to have my hand insured for $2 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah, before renderings came out. Anyway, so
you had your hand insured for $2 million.
yeah, dude, because the entire company was based off of my right hand, dude. With
Yeah.
these like 3 fingers, dude. Were just
That's good. I mean, in your industry, you got it insured. Well, you were still doing a lot of the work
Yeah.
at this time too, like actually doing the building and stuff. Very interesting.
I
Okay.
wanted to like cage fight and box, and like my wife wouldn't let me, do it because I'd mess up my hand or whatever. And eventually, when the 3D renderings came out, she let me, and then I'd go box, and then I actually broke my hand.
Oh man.
So,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I Joe, and then I thought he was thought he hated me.
Yeah.
And I meet Diane, and she loves me.
Yeah.
And told me, basically told me that he loved me. So then I'm like, okay, great. So then I got this guy's $20,000 design, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and she's like, go ahead and go bid this, and I'm like, okay, cool. So then I go and I'm working on the bid and I get the bid together for her and I'm sitting there looking at this guy's design and I'm like not impressed by it. No, personally, my own feeling, myself, I'm sitting there and like, man, the shit these guys are getting away with and calling it amazing or whatever, right? So then, and I don't want to badmouth anybody's art, but I'm just being honest, this is what I thought. So then, I'm like in this meeting with her at her house and she's like, yep. Perfectly happy with the bid. When can you start? And I'm like, oh yeah, right away. Like, let me get with my team and see what we can get started. With basically some of my guys that I had met probably that year that were kind of helping me work on stuff. But that I was working in the field. I was still digging ditches, working with my back. You know what I mean? Like in the field with them. So I think there's something about there was something about my demeanor or something that she caught. I don't think I said anything in particular, but she said to me, "You're not telling me something. Like, are you okay with this, or are you happy with it?" So then I'm like, "Oh God, I don't want her to think I'm like incapable of like I'm not worried about doing the work." So I just said it. I go, I just think we can do better. And then right away, I was like, oh my God, can I put the words are like, put them back in my mouth. You know what I mean? Like, like when you go to lock your keys in your car and you're doing it, like the door's coming, like I'm locking my keys in my car. Like, you know what I mean? And like now they're in the car, like, fuck. Yeah. So that's what I was feeling like, I was like,
that's a great way
I
of
can do
better,
like an idiot.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, right that moment, I was like, you fucking moron. You just ruined this huge opportunity to work for these people who are connected. And you just badmouthed this guy that you wish you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like every stupid thing they could have, like, it's all culminating in the stupid shit that I just said, right? Yeah. And and thank God I said it, because she goes, okay, just go try your best and let me know what you got. And I'm like, okay. So then I left and I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, you fucked up, you stupid. So then I go like for 4 days and I sit there and I agonize over this, dude.
Yeah.
I got to like hit a home run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just have to, like that, or else I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, of course, you gotta do a great job.
Yeah. So I finally get it to the point where I'm looking at this thing and I, tell my girlfriend to look at, we're looking at it and she's like, this is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. I think this is pretty amazing. I think that I've got myself convinced. I'm like, if she doesn't like this, then I'm okay. I'm okay knowing I really feel like I put my heart into this, and I think that I did better. I think this is way better than the other guys say. I think this is sick. The other guys is junk. Like I'm like really telling myself this. I'm like really convinced. So then I walk in with confidence, dude, and unravel my pencil drawing. By the way, back then it was even before 3D. It was still like CAD.
Yeah.
Everybody had their CAD, with the computer aided drafting and stuff. Yeah. And my shit was like drawings with a pencil. You know what I mean? So I go in there with my pencil drawing and unravel my pencil drawing and show it to her. And she, it's so dramatic, and she like takes like the other guy's drawing and just like crumples it up and like, this is crap. Like, this is amazing. If you have any more ideas, you let me know.
Yeah.
Let's get a bid for this.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude, like, God.
Yeah, I'm sure you were stoked.
Oh
I'm
my
sure
God.
You were elated.
I literally jumped
like,
in the air and clicked my heels. Like, literally, dude. I was like, yeah. Like, went home and took my wife, like my girlfriend out to dinner.
Dude. You put your heart and soul into that.
Oh my God. It was like this huge weight off of me, a huge breath of fresh air.
I'm glad that she was like that. I mean, imagine the other retrospect. Imagine if she told
me. Oh, she could have been totally offended. I've met people that, like, she could have been offended and been like, do you know who this is? Who I spent $20,000? I spent $20,000 on this. How dare you?
Like, thank God
you know
found
who
like
he
a
is?
reasonable.
I don't even remember the guy's name.
That's like you found like a reasonable individual that was like, no, this is real. This is amazing.
I found like a lifelong fan cheerleader. Like Diane will,
she'll fight someone for you.
Yeah,
she's got your back, dude.
She will just sing my praises or whatever to anybody who will listen to her. And she did. Yeah. And so from her, it was on, dude. Like it was like everybody she knew. Her husband's Lebanese. Yeah. Dude, the Lebanese community, bro. Like
my dad's Armenian Lebanese, dude.
Oh my God, dude, they was just like
they're gonna tell their cousins, their mothers.
I was invited to all these parties. Yeah,
what is it?
Husband, mother,
Ryan
sister.
Eldridge. Of course, Captain. Captain. Sure. I just got him 8 loans because I posted on my Facebook that I got it done, and my cousins all called him, and he's now doing 8 of their loans.
Yeah, dude.
It's like
that's the Lebanese community,
dude,
bro.
Middle
You're
Easterns,
in,
dude. Once you're in, they're family. That's it. Yeah, they're gonna invite you to all the things.
Oh, dude, I've been to all these parties. I have one of my clients. I have I have a house in. Lake Arrowhead with him, and we did that together, and Yeah, dude. I mean, I've gone on trips with them, like gone to all the parties and stuff, and it's awesome. You go to these parties and you get your ego stroked. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like, you did this. Nice. This is amazing. Can you do my house? Like, of course.
Yeah.
So that's how I got going. That was like a huge turning point.
Yeah.
Is like Diane, like letting me just go ape shit on her house because we went nuts, dude. Like we went like the first time, like mahogany coping, dude, on a pool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which remarkably, mahogany does really well, dude, as coping.
I wouldn't imagine.
It's amazing. It's like layered. We did this like a laminated. I'd have to show you, but it's like it's a coping made out of mahogany.
What is coping exactly?
Coping is the edge of the pool.
Okay, got it.
That's usually concrete. Everybody's concrete. They're all concrete. Yeah. This one's mahogany, dude.
It's amazing. I'm sure it looks gorgeous.
It is amazing. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's all strips like all laminated together to create this, and then the pool, the bottom of the pool is all like this epoxied, like patterned out, like this huge pattern all in the bottom of the pool, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to put that image in there if we can get that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll get you that. Yeah. That first job I did. Yeah. Like the front entry, when you walk to the front door, it looks like you're going to walk across water because there's literally there's a cove that comes in like this square, walking the front door, and there's a step to get into that little cove where there's like a walkway, but the walkway is literally a hair's, like an eighth of an inch from being overflowing with water because there's a pond around it.
That's amazing.
Okay. And it's all like black bottom. So the water is like black and turbulent, but at night, especially, you can't tell the difference between the piano finish lacquered walkway.
Yeah.
It's slate walkway and the water next to it. So it just looks like you're going to walk across water, especially because there's a little, it's hard. I'm just trying to describe it, but we'll just show it.
You're doing a great job. I'm watching the visual.
The channel in front of the walkway and then also the water next to it has a waterfall, a sheer descent waterfall that comes off of it.
Yeah. And it goes straight down.
And it goes straight down. And then there's RGB lights hitting that. So that's like glowing because water acts as a prism.
Yeah.
So you've got this like sheet of water. It doesn't look like there's anything to walk on, but when you walk up, you realize, oh, this is a walkway.
That's amazing.
I'll show it to you. It's crazy, and it's like the first big project that I did, the first gnarly one. I worked on that project like it was the last chance I was ever going to get.
Yeah, and so you've become familiar with like all these materials like slate, mahogany, and all this stuff, and that's just from years of being
dude, I've like create. Yeah, at this point, I've like created.
You now like know just like the feels, the looks, and you're very familiar with everything, and just down to the most minute detail.
Yeah, and I'm big on new and fresh and different. Different is a big deal to me. Yeah. I think people will like something over something else. Yeah. Just because it's different. Even though this is better and more harder to get and more, unobtainium-ish, than this. But if this is new, like if this is different, they'll go with this.
Yeah. Do you find yourself, because you've done, I saw on your website, I think like 80 something there. How many projects have you done now, you think?
Oh God, I don't know, hundreds, 1,000. I don't know.
So I was going to say, do you ever find yourself like running out of ideas, or is it because every house and every person is different, they give you inspiration as to what they're looking for?
That's a really good question. So that can happen. A certain client might just inspire. I have a client right now I'm doing a job for. Yeah. Right? His name is, George and Maya, right? Yeah. That's the husband and wife. And their little kid, they have these two little twins. They're crazy. They're little howler monkeys, I call them. Yeah. Dimitri and Eliana. So anyway, they are just like huge fans of my work, just scared to even give me their opinions. They're like apprehensively like, Jesse, what do you think if we do this? But only if you think it's a good idea. You know what I mean? So they're just like beautiful, amazing people. And they're just like just one of my favorite clients. And I love working for people like that. And that inspires me to dig deep and see what can I just want to give them everything I can. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that I'm putting as much of my heart into it because they believe in me. So I owe that to them. You know what I mean? If I feel like I have this weird superstition that if I don't honor this gift that I have, if I don't honor it, I'll lose it. Like, it's going to be stripped away from me.
No, that's the truth.
If I don't honor it.
If you don't, you should be blessed to do the work. A lot of people, I know one vocabulary change that I've made in the last year is like everybody says, I have to do this, or, because when it's work, it's like, I have to do it. Yeah, it's, I get to do it. You're blessed to do it because people are seeking you out. And, just from like listening to you, I know that I don't know general contractors that are like this. General contractors, like people tell me what I want or what they want and they build it. They don't give any creativity. There's no uniqueness. Oh, do you want oak or mahogany? That's the extent of their creativity. Or do you want granite, or do you want tile countertops?
Sure. Yeah.
And that's fucking boring in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
And no offense to any of the contractors out there, but put some heart and soul into what you do. Get some creativity, figure it out. Like, try to provide something unique, and that's what's going to make you special. Don't just do the same cookie cutter shit for every single person. And that's the greatest proposition is, for you, why you do what you do. Like a book that I'm reading right now is called like Start With Why. It seems like for you, why, it's because you're so impassioned, right? You genuinely enjoy the creativity behind creating these complex spaces and these locations that people can go spend time and really feel like in love with their homes. It's a completely different experience than somebody coming in and just creating the same cookie cutter development house and just looks the same as everybody else's. So it's amazing what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I got that. That's how you were asking me, like, when did you first find out that you were artistic at this and, get going down that path? I guess I was forced down that path.
Yeah.
And then I just turned it into an artistic endeavor.
Yeah, well, something in your soul said, no, fuck this. I can do better, or I can be creative. And it's good. Imagine if the little fucking, bulldog inside of you didn't speak out when it did. You called it locking your own keys in the door, but that was literally your soul crying out and saying, hey, something is wrong with this. You need to let me out.
Right.
And thank God it happened, right? Because it put you down this path. Who knows? And maybe it would have taken another 4 years for you to get to the point where you're like not just trying to think about doing the next job. And you finally got that opportunity. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did, for sure. Yeah. I'm sure the little person inside of you is like, I wish the keys got locked in the door years ago so we could have started down this path, but it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's how I got going down that path. And for many years, it's been like my art, and my art's been seeked out, and people people see that. They see like the heart that you're putting into it, and they gravitate towards it. Yeah. So that's how that business kind of started taking off. But for many years, even after Diane, I didn't make any money, and I just kind of like glorified doing my art and being like a starving artist. I'm like, I don't care if I make any money at this. I just love what I do, and as long as they let me keep doing it, I'll do it for free if I have to. Yeah. Because I always took care of my guys and made sure everybody was well paid. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I didn't know how to make money for myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to keep any of it. So I driving an old ass truck for many years, dude, for a decade after I met Diane.
That's a hard part of being a business owner. I know one of my buddies always jokes, he says it's not about what you make, it's about what you take, right? And so like that's a huge part of it too, is like learning how to find that balance. But a lot of people also don't realize that the happiest companies and the most successful companies are the employees. If they're happy and they're doing a good job, your company is going to be 10 times more successful, right? Yeah. So like one thing I do,
it's a balance.
So one thing I do at my firm is everybody gets a bonus based on how the firm does. So every time we hit certain thresholds, everybody gets a bonus. So everybody feels like they're in on it together. I don't know if like how you do it with your team, but maybe if like depending on the size of the project, maybe everybody gets a commission based off of the size of the project. I have no idea how you do it.
It's based on performance too. We incentivize our employees. Got it. If the project hits a certain profit margin, then the crew chief and the project manager get some dough.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the best way to do it for sure. Keep everybody incentivized. If everybody feels like they have a bone in the fight, they're going to fight a lot harder. Yeah. Yeah. Employees is not the way to go anymore. You need to keep people, whether it's sweat equity or whatever it may be, just keep people involved. And then when they feel like they're part of the process, they're going to help the process be a lot more beautiful in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You got to take care of your people. You got to take care of yourself too. Yeah. I took care of my people for many years, and it's not enough, dude. Yeah. Like, people will take advantage of you, man. I mean, that's 100%. Unfortunate. I hate to like put a damper on, our conversation, but I mean, you got to watch out for yourself, dude. It's like, I had this, I have a client, one of my Lebanese clients, and he's a big builder, dude. He builds, schools and, but mostly gas stations, and he's like a multi-millionaire, like super, huge. And, when I was trying to grow, he's like, I'm like, talk to him about all these parameters, and he goes, listen, dude, he goes, the employees, he goes, you've got to watch them, dude. He goes, you got to create systems and processes and checks and balances, and you got to be able to keep an eye on them, because they will, any sort of like hole of opportunity, like even if they had good intentions, dude, it's like if you give them the opportunity, they will screw you. And it's not like they all will do that, but it's just human nature, dude. If you just like
it hurts.
Make it too easy for them to like milk the system, they'll screw you.
Yeah, no, that's why honestly spending this year like doing the processes, like we're not huge yet, there's 5 people at my company, right? But like the process is supposed to be built so that when we do get to 1,000 people, I know everybody's doing everything too much. Like one of my employees right now, she's like, we have too many tasks. And I'm like, I get it. I know you know how to do everything, but I'd rather you get that repetitive task on every case and mark that it was done than me not put it in there because you know that you need to do it. Because the plan is to grow and to, keep introducing people into making sure everything's done perfectly. If it's done perfectly every time, we have no problems. Even though it might seem like a headache and annoying to you, I'd rather you spend 10 seconds, which I'm going to pay for, to click that you've done that than to just go ahead and remove it and not go through that process.
Right. No, that's beautiful, dude. Yeah. You've got to have those checks and balances, man. Yeah. I mean, just as a disclaimer, it's like it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, you also employees or just people in general that work for you, like if you give them, because it's your fault if they're screwing you. It's not their fault. Like they're just over there trying to live. You know what I mean? But if you give them the opportunity in the form of learning management software, standard operating procedures, like if you set them up for success, then they have no excuse.
Yeah.
Then it's like you're working together, trying to make this thing happen. And this is kind of going back to, saying earlier, like, dude, I was doing $3 million a year, not making any money, dude.
Yeah.
I was on TV for years and doing millions, and I was living in a $1,300 a month apartment with a 10-year-old truck. You know what I mean? And something happened, dude, the last few years ago, like maybe literally in the last like 3-4 years, dude. Like where now the way we talk, standard operating procedures, integrations, automations, all the software, the CRM, the project management software, like all these things started coming into play.
Yeah, I mean,
and it changed my life.
Well, these things weren't huge 5-10 years ago, right? These things just started becoming like huge and in place. Like I know Salesforce was one of the big first ones when it first came out, but a lot of these CRMs are just becoming popular now, and they're just getting properly coded. They're getting done the right way, and then not only that, but now CRMs have become so customizable that you can really design it any way that you want, and that was not an option before. In the past, it was like, this is what you're going to get.
Right.
You can't fucking change it.
Right.
This is how it is. But now they allow you to almost create your own coding and your own processes and allow you to change the tasks and the task flow. And it's made it really easy and customizable. And trust me, I mean, I wish I would have learned about mine, like, when I first started, because the first 3 years, I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I remember I had notes on my iPhone. That's how I remembered what my clients.
Same here.
I had a specific thing. I was
like,
here's all the details, the yellow
Yeah.
notes. I'm like, this is everything I need to know about the client. And people are like, well, where's everything else? In my brain.
Dude, I used to use my email.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things like I kind of used as a CRM. I used to use my email like folders, like different folders for different things and different clients, and I literally would keep the ledgers, the accounting ledgers, like in my email folders. I was using my email
as a CRM,
as kind of like a CRM.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, everybody, until they get it, they don't get it. But for anybody out there that's a small business owner, if you own a business, I promise you there is a CRM specifically for your industry now.
For sure.
Go find it, and it'll change your life, and it's for the better. And you're going to say,
I second that.
The extra $40 a month you're going to spend on it is you're going to make back 10 times, 100 times the money.
They're gold.
Yeah, they're gold.
They're worth every penny.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about now is we've talked about your journey. We've talked about how you got there. It's very, very impressive. And, just like the emotional journey, for me, I came from like a spoiled background. It's like I didn't have to cut my throat as hard as you did. And I know you kind of went up and then you went back down and then you literally had to earn over it. So it's like it's very empowering and very, 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 it just makes me feel a lot more motivated to work even harder because I didn't have to come from such like a low place, and you came and you fucking hustled. So great job. I want to talk about, what are some of the things now that you think keep you consistent and keep you good? You said that, you feel that it's almost like you'd be cursed if you didn't continue down this path, right? And you didn't do a good job for every single person. Like, what are the things that make you so good at what you do on a regular basis?
So part of our standard operating procedures and, all the processes and everything are based on this like first class mentality. You know what I mean? So even like our smaller clients that aren't building a crazy sophisticated project, even though like we make sure that we're not dropping the ball on those either. Yeah. So across the board, we're trying to provide a first class product.
Yeah.
And the culture in the company is if we're not doing that, we're not honoring our reputation and our profile in the in the industry.
Yeah.
What people expect from us. We have to honor that.
So you actually do like you try to guarantee a first class presentation and first class job with every single person.
Yeah. I mean, the staff, well, okay, so like not just talking shit. I mean, it's like it's in the system. Like any of our designers they don't make it through to a reveal. We call them reveals. They don't make it through to a reveal unless they go through me and I have to approve it. Like I have my eyes on everything.
Yeah.
So like even though I'm not designing every single detail these days, like we have meetings, I give them so like, here's the vibe of this project we're doing or whatever. Or they tell me like, hey, here's where I'm going with this. Here's what the client wants. What do you think? I go, yep, sounds good. Run with it. And literally like a 2-second, and then, or I give them a little bit of my 2 cents on things and then they go run with it.
Well, this is good, and it's super important. And that's like what I was talking about, like this year, like that book that I was reading. It putting down like the fact, like one of your core values is I already know from talking to you, it's first class service, right? So the fact that you communicated through your CRM and like just even telling your team, we are going to provide the best, we're going to provide first class, until you communicate it to everybody in the company, they don't know, right?
Right.
So it's like, it's your job as a leader and your executive team or whatever it is, but in your company, it's mostly you and your ideas. So you need to communicate that stuff to your team, because if you communicate it to them, they understand that's what we're about.
Yeah.
And like one thing that like I've been trying to communicate to my team is, we're talking about like why we do what we do. And so we just changed our motto. So it's here to help you heal. And like, I don't like to focus on telling the clients we're going to get you a bunch of money. I don't give a fuck about that. What I'm focused on is we want to focus on helping people get better and helping them heal. So we now have in our messaging, in our initial texts, in our letters that we send people, like that's the focus. The focus is to get you better. We're going to get you your compensation later, but the most important thing is getting your body better and getting you back to 100%, because that's really what matters in the long run. And I keep communicating that to my team, and even when they talk to the clients now, they communicate that.
Sure.
And it's like, that's the message we want people to tell other people. That's what this firm did for me. They got me better, and that's what's important. But it's like, you literally have to communicate those things, otherwise it doesn't get done or it doesn't get shown to the clients.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think funny thing is about that is like, I have a lot of like, even the way you've heard me talk to you today and stuff, it's like how I talk to my clients.
Yeah,
and to my employees. You know what I mean? To my employees. So I feel like I kind of like infect them every day with my philosophies and stuff. You know? But
you're a very powerful individual, like you're short, stocky, not short, stocky, but you're like a buff, stocky dude.
Thanks,
you know what
man.
I mean? So like, you have like, you know what I mean? It's like, you have a lot of personality that people can get infected with. Some people are very like timid leaders, right? They like tell and like people will go do, but then there's people with strong personalities, like you said, alpha personalities. And I think that's the best way to infect people, is like for them to see it from you, see how you act and how you respond to people. And as long as you're consistent across the board, like, people, like my employees hear me curse with my clients, because most of my clients are my friends and family. So I just like, I'm just natural in the same way with everyone, even with them, and we communicate in the same way, but it's good to be consistent.
Yeah. I think even like amongst themselves, they kind of know, like they're kind of like proud of this company and proud of who they work for, I guess. Yeah. And I do kind of have, in the beginning of the podcast, you said he's very famous, and I wouldn't even, I consider myself, I say that I'm bullshit famous.
Yeah. But in your space, you're probably well known.
Yeah, for sure. Like, for sure, the people in the industry, like I've been told by my peers in the industry, surprisingly, actually, in the last year, I've met a few of them and actually made friends with one of my biggest competitors. He's one of my good friends now.
The best thing I can tell you is this. So I created my own networking group of young personal injury attorneys that like started their own like firms, very young too. Those have been the best people, like their competition, their direct competition. They're all within like a couple miles of my office. And I thought it was going to be a nightmare and it wasn't going to be a good idea. It's been the best thing I've ever done. These people support me more than anybody else. They help me they've given me solutions to problems I didn't know I had. And those are the people you should be reaching out to. And being like famous within your space is the best way to get support, right? People want to help people that are out there helping other people.
Yeah, me and Jeff do that for each other too. My friend Jeff Martia, he owns Pool Logic. So I'm plugging my competition.
No, as you should, dude. If people are good, because sometimes, I can imagine Pool Logic is probably not as expensive as you, just to be very, very blunt about certain things.
We're working on that. I'm talking him into, Well, I mean, I'm kind of talking him into coming into the little bit of more high end on certain things, or actually he wants to do some more high end stuff, and he's doing some high end stuff now, and I'm kind of I think I'm influencing him a little bit on maybe charging more for things and for those things, and then he's influencing me on starting to do more not cookie cutter, but like more standard pools. You know what I mean? Like we've kind of in the past have always on purpose we've filtered those people out. Like not that we don't want to work for people. It's just like I'm trying to be diplomatic about it. Like there's a certain level that we want it to be at. And anything beneath that level, it's like we're probably not the best person for you. Like, maybe have somebody else do it. But now that I've been more in love with the business side of things and like growth and scaling the company, and we've designed it to scale. Yeah. There's no way that we're going to scale to the level that I want to, like the size I want to be at, without doing standard pools, like standardized pools. So now we're building out this like standard pool catalog of these like pre-designed pools that we do that still have our vibe and look like one of our projects, but are more like standardized, lower price, more budget conscious, but still look dope. You know what I mean? And Jeff had a direct influence on that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you is like those people end up becoming like almost like subcontractors for you, right? You just have to find the right partners. Because for me, for example, like I said, I don't like to take a lot of cases that are below like me making $5,000, like the firm making $5,000 on a case, because we lose money with time and just where we're at with our resources. But I have a firm that is part of my network that they literally are specialists in taking cases that are under like $5,000 value. And otherwise, I would tell these people to figure it out on their own because I just don't have the time for it. But this is a trusted firm. They're really good at what they do, and they literally specialize in helping people with these super low value cases. And so I have found this team now, and they give me a referral fee. And the same way you could get a partnership with like a subcontractor, you find somebody that's good at doing maybe the things you don't want to do, but you trust their work, they're good at it, and you can have an influence on what they do, which is what I still like to be involved. And you would still make another revenue stream, and you now can create a new partnership. So that's what I'd recommend, to maybe see if you could do something along those lines. Because then you basically have a whole other team working with you, not for you, but with you, if you can have some sort of influence on what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely like influence each other, and it's nice to be able to collaborate with somebody that understands what you go through and is on the same page. It's like you're really my peer. Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's a nice stress group.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so I want to ask you one last question.
Sure.
We're running out of time here. So if you could go back and you could tell little teenage Jesse something, you go back in time before you started going down this road of being maybe a handyman, or even maybe younger than that, what would you go back and tell that kid, and what would you say to him?
Oh man, so I could answer this two different ways. I could be very practical about it, and be like, let's need to learn about. Okay, cool. So then I would love to be able to go back and tell the secrets of how to, here's how to scale a business. Here's that you need to develop these, systems and processes, and envision the company this big and then extrapolate back. I'd love to say all that to myself.
Yeah, reverse engineer is what I like to call it. It's like figure out your end goal, and you can always reverse engineer your end goal. But I think, a lot of things, the biggest problem is most people just don't know what their end goal is. If you figure out what that end goal is, there's a million ways to get there. You just got to figure out what that is, and most people just can't see that picture. If you can do that, you're already hundreds of leagues ahead of everybody else.
So there's that, the practical side of it. Yeah. Right. But one of the biggest obstacles that I've had in my career, and especially back when I was, a kid, like you're saying, it wasn't even, if I really, really am honest about it and I think about it, it's not even really, when you really distill it, it's really not even just the systems and processes and everything. I mean, but what really affected my growth more than anything was I was like, where I came from, I was basically just, at that point, I was the age of maybe, 19 or whatever. I was like a beaten dog, dude. So I couldn't possibly see that level, that we're at. Because I just felt like I didn't feel like I deserved it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm just a street dog, dude. You know what I mean? Like, how could a freaking street punk like me ever even think about having, something like success like that? So if I had to choose, I think I would probably maybe even be more effective just going back and telling myself like, you know, you're worth it, dude. Like, just, like grabbing myself and going, you're a badass motherfucker, dude.
Yeah. You're going to fucking make it. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I think that would have been more powerful.
Yeah.
To be able to say that.
Yeah.
To see me.
Yeah.
When I was like a little twerpy kid like that, and then seeing a motherfucker like me, like if I saw myself, I would think that I was the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, dude, I get it. I remember I went to a Tony Robbins conference recently, and Tony, if you've never been to one of his conferences, the guy commands.
I'd love to. Yeah.
The guy commands.
We should go.
I'm down 100%. Yeah. The guy commands a crowd better than anything I've ever seen better than any president that's probably ever lived. And the guy, like at the end of it, he's just like jumping up and down cheering, and people are cheering for him like at the top of their lungs. This guy helps people change their lives. And he just like grabs a mic and he's like talking. He's just like, man, if I could just go back and tell young me, you're gonna fucking make it, kid. Like, it's gonna be all okay. All the hard work you're putting into this, like, it was just like this genuine moment where he was like talking to himself. He wasn't really talking to us, but he's like, I wish I could just go back and tell little me, hey, you're fucking all the work you're putting in now, it's fucking gonna be worth it. You're gonna do it, kid. And he just like, it was this moment of like, same thing when you were driving that Ferrari. He was just having this moment where it's like, fuck, dude. Like, I made it, I did it, you know. And he's like, and it's a very humbling thing, but it was just very something genuine to experience because he was so like, it was so real. And he's not up there just selling bullshit or he's just literally trying to help people. And just watching him realize like he feels like he's doing his God's work or whatever, you know, it might be on the planet. And it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah.
It was really cool. All right, what I want you to do now is I want you to tell everybody how they can get in contact with you. You know, tell them your Instagram handle, tell them your website, tell them your phone number, tell them everything so that they can reach out to you. And if any of you are looking to do any custom design work or you just want to have a unique home and you have some, you know, not even extra cash, but if you just want to get stuff done, don't go basic. Reach out to Jesse. I'm sure he can provide something for you that you're never going to experience in your entire life. And it's going to be amazing, gorgeous, fantastic. Jesse, let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Well, we're happy to do all that custom work, and we're happy to do even like the most basic stuff. We're like charging all of that now.
Okay, so, awesome, good. So you guys are doing all the above. That's good to know.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Great.
So calimingo.com. See, that's why I rebranded the company because it's trademarked up and down, you know, all over the place. So and there's no such word as Calimingo. That's our own thing.
Yeah, it's a made up thing.
It doesn't exist. We know.
Why don't you spell that for people?
So Cali, like California, and Mingo, like flamingo.
So CALIMINGO.com.
Okay, .com. So calimingo.com. They can also call the office at 714-235-3294.
Yep.
Same number I've had for 25 years.
Yeah, just ask for the same Viking that works there. You'll find him. It's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can call that line, 714-235-3294 or calimingo.com. I mean, that's
Is that your Instagram now too? Did you change that?
So the Instagram is Calimingo.
Okay.
Same thing with the Facebook.
Yeah. You guys, if you watch this podcast, just spend 10 minutes. Even if you can't afford to remodel your home, just go look at the pictures. Like, it's some rad shit on there. I'm going to, of course, try to put that on the screen for everybody to see, but there's just so many different projects and it's really unique and it's just fun to watch. You ever just like watch like MTV Cribs? Well, the shit that he designs, in my opinion, is cooler than 90% of the shit on MTV Cribs. So check it out. It's cool stuff.
We have a bunch of kids that follow our stuff.
Yeah,
like a ton of
I'm
kids.
sure one day they're going to grow up. Like, what is it? Like the Ferrari commercial, like sell it to them when they're a kid and then they buy it when they're an adult. That's probably what's going to happen with a lot of these kids. They're going to finally make it one day.
Makes sense.
They're going to be like, I'm going to reach out to Calimingo. I want that house. I want that design. And you're going to have a lot of fans in 10, 20 years for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Cool.
Well, this was awesome, dude. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I think we're better friends for this.
Yeah, for sure.
I've learned a lot.
I still can't stand you, but, you know, nonetheless, yeah, dude, honestly, this was great. Thanks for coming on. This was a great episode. You know, a lot of times when I get people on here, it's like, I just like ask them questions. They don't talk to me back, but it's nice to like actually have like a conversation. So I appreciate that. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to doing it again.
So everybody kind of understands like the climate that we're dealing with, right? Like I called Jesse last night. So Jesse wasn't even supposed to be the guest today. I plan to have him later. You know, COVID's a very real thing right now. Like, my buddy was supposed to be a guest and his whole family caught COVID, and so he couldn't come.
Wow.
And so, you know, luckily I was able to have a good friend that Jesse's like, I'll jump in here. But, you know, this turned out to be, in my opinion, one of the best podcasts I've done. And this was a lot of fun. And
awesome,
he literally
dude.
jumped on like the night before. So, you know, just the best thing I can say is have a backup plan, right? I did not have a backup plan. Luckily, Jesse was a great dude, but nonetheless, thank you all for chiming in. I think this was a great episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Nasty.